Okay, paper 1, question 13. You have a map that talks about this point C on a coast and this point C that is where a ship's located. It's a bearings question, so I've got our protractor here because we're going to need to use it. And I've also got the compass here, pair of compasses here, and a ruler here because this is what you could say a classic constructions question, okay? The map you have is that your scale that you've been given is that 1 centimetre represents 100 metres. So in other words, 100 metres in real life equals 1 centimetre on that map. It says point C is on the coast. Ships must not sail closer than 500 metres to point C. So in real life, 500 metres away from point C, it doesn't matter in what direction you go, it's a no-go. Ships aren't allowed to go through it, alright? Now when you're trying to find a range of area or distance away from a point, because you have all these directions to take into account, 500 metres away from C could be here, could be there, could be points that form an arc, or in other words a circle right the way round. So what we do is, first of all we need to figure out how big to make this arc on the page. They talk about 500 metres, which is referring to real life, so we need to use our scale. The fact that we have 500 metres in real life means that we're going to need 5 centimetres on the page, okay? Now you would do workings, for example, something along the lines of 500 divided by 100 equals 5, and then 5 times 1 equals 5 centimetres. You would kind of doodle the sum as to how you got 5 centimetres, because of the fact that it's a star question. So really, the long and short of star question, anything you think of gets down on that page, be it numbers or words, okay? So we have 5 centimetres. I take our pair of compasses and I put the point on C and measure it so that it's 5 centimetres long. So I took the liberty of doing that already. That pair of compasses is 5 centimetres away, and I mark all the points that are 5 centimetres away. In other words, that. If I go from coast round to coast. Okay. So ships aren't allowed in there. That's basically what's going on here. You're told that the ship is going to sail on a bearing of 037 degrees, so that's going to head up somewhere here. And basically you have to figure out whether or not the ship is going to enter that region bounded by this blue line. In other words, it's going to cross the blue line. Okay. For that, line up your protractor on top of your ship. Okay. And go round to 37 degrees, so in this case, there, and then draw your straight line through it. So, through that dot. There we go, okay. Given the fact it's a constructions question, there's always a bit of leeway, a bit of tolerance allowed, so you might have something that gives a sort of wider looking chunk or wider looking sector there. But bottom line is that this path of the ship on a bearing of 037, has crossed within 500 metres of C. So we need a sort of explanation to talk about that. So we would write the path of the ship, or something like this. The path of the ship crosses within 500 metres of the coast, or of the coast from C. So that's kind of like a statement, basically say the straight line has crossed the arc. Therefore, answer the question, will the ship sail closer than 500 metres to point C? The answer is yes, really. Therefore, yes. It will sail within 500 metres of C. Correction based on that first statement, because we drew that, I shouldn't really put 5 100 metres here because what we drew wasn't 500 metres, what we drew was 5 centimetres. Okay, so on your picture it crossed within 5 centimetres, so in real life the path would have crossed